don't know when to quit.
Yeah, I've been told that before.
Wow. Are you guys seeing this? I need a weapon.
Hello there.
He with you?
I thought yours was you.
Well, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Slav's Free Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Slav. How's it going? We've got a show tonight. Now, we're going to dive into some box office information from today, this past weekend, I should say. It's interesting. It's definitely interesting. This weekend was an interesting box office weekend. So we're going to discuss that. And I don't know if you guys saw, but Spider-Man got some new digs. So we're going to look at those, discuss what's going on with Spider-Man. We also have some rumors regarding Teen Titans, maybe rumor, maybe some information. Not so much rumor, but information on Teen Titans. And then I want to talk about what is possibly the most interesting topic that I've had for a while, which is I want to talk about the box office and the theaters and how I think Hollywood and the theater chains can maybe fix the issues going on there. So let's get into it. All right. So who do we have in here? How's it going, everyone? We got Trayvon in here. It says, "What's up, peeps? What is going on?" Jalen says, "Hey, everyone." What's up, Jalen? Emo Nerd Girl. Hey, nerds. What's going on, Emo Nerd Girl? Let's see. Trayvon says, "Superman has outgrossed almost all DCU movies domestically, so I can die the happiest man alive, taking in the crocodile tears of the Snyder Bros." I don't know if you guys saw recently, if you follow me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, I posted just a little tweet today, and I had no expectation for this thing to blow up. This thing has completely blown up like crazy. Like, literally, it is nuts what has happened with it. People are freaking out about this with this tweet. Let me see if I can pull it up for you guys to see. There we go. Yeah, I'm already... Let's see. Let's just pull it up real quick, because it is relatively crazy what's going on with it here. So right now, basically, I just talked about the inflation argument that people keep bringing up when it comes to Man of Steel and just how it's dumb. And the comments are getting out of hand. People are freaking out about it. It's pretty funny. It is pretty funny. I encourage you to go take a look at it. Some people are all on board, while some people are freaking out about it. Some people are commenting on it that I never would expect it to comment on something like that. So it's pretty funny. So I encourage you to go check it out, because it is pretty cool to see some of these people that you never would expect to see commenting on something like that actually comment. So who else do we got in here? Let me pull some things around, move things around here, because I definitely did not set this up properly. Surprise. What else is new? All right. Who else is here? We got Lawrence Fury says, "What up? What up?" Amari, sup? What's going on? And anybody else? Nobody else. I don't see anybody else in here. That's all we got I see right now, but that's all right. It's all right. We will definitely... Sure, we will have more stopping in as time moves on. All right. So let's get into the first topic here. Like I said, the box office was an interesting one this weekend, for sure. So the box office, Fantastic Four came out victorious. A little shorter than what the expectations were, because when I was first looking at it, it looked like Fantastic Four was going to hit that $40 million mark. Looks like it hit about $38 million, a little under that 40, which is okay, I suppose. Where did that go now? There we go. I got to put that right there. So, it's okay, I suppose. I mean, I think we were all hoping those of us who want to see these movies succeed, I think we're hoping to see a little bit better. But I mean, we're looking at like a 66% drop from its opening weekend, which is pretty terrible. I mean, when you're comparing it to Superman, which came out a couple weeks ago, from its first weekend to its second weekend, and it only saw like a 53-54% drop. What is going on with Marvel? Like that's kind of scary. Like that, there's something going on with Marvel. And for those of you who want to know, if you are a member of my channel tonight, immediately after this, I will have a members only stream where I do talk about just that. I will be talking about, should Marvel be scared? Should they be in a panic mode because of what's going on? So I will be talking exclusively about that more in depth. But honestly, I mean, there's some people trying to sit there and say, well, they had a big opening weekend, so 66% isn't that scary of a drop for them. But again, if you compare it to Superman, it's not great. I'm not sitting here saying that it's, the sky is falling for Fantastic Four. It's still going to make decent money when all's said and done. But it's not looking great for them, that's for sure. There's no rewatchability for that film. And I think that's what people are starting to find out, is that maybe this movie, while it's decent, it's enjoyable to a point, you don't need to go back and watch it. There's no reason to go back and watch it. I think that's the problem with it. And then we have Bad Guys 2, The Bad Guys 2, which is an animated movie, made $22.2 million, which isn't bad. I think the first movie made like $24 million when it came out a couple years ago. So, I mean, it's right around what it should be making. Typically, you'd like to see a sequel make a little bit more than the first one. My guess is if it doesn't have legs, this will probably be the last one in the series, but not too bad. The one that I'm a little upset about and shocked about is The Naked Gun, just making $17 million, especially when it had such rave reviews. Is it because people don't care? Is it because people are just like, we don't want comedies? Look, I'm the kind of guy, I want to see comedies in theaters. I want to see these types of comedies again in theaters. Now, I'm sitting here saying that I haven't had a chance to go see this movie. I am going to go see it in theaters. I am going to go support this movie in the theater. This weekend was really busy for me. But when it comes down to it, these are the kind of movies that we need to see again in the theater, because these are fun. These are the type of films that were just a blast. We don't get comedies like this anymore, and it's got rave reviews. It's kind of shocking that it didn't do better than just $17 million. Now, the big thing I want to talk about is Superman, because honestly, it wasn't a big boom at the box office this weekend, but making a decent amount of money. I mean, it was about $13 million. And, I mean, it's bringing its domestic total up over $316 million, which now puts it above Batman v Superman. The grand total for the worldwide total was now over $550 million. I have to say, like, this movie has legs. This movie, I think, is going to push further and further. And we now have to ask, what is this movie going to end up making in the box office when all is said and done? All right, because that's the interesting aspect about it. Okay, because look, you have the people that want to say, is it going to make the 670 to beat Man of Steel? Who the hell cares? All I want to know is, what is this movie going to make to excite us fans to say, look, DCU is here. Let's get going. It's made a really solid run its first 3 weeks. A really, really solid run the first 3 weeks. Now, in its fourth week, what's it going to do? It's losing about 45 to 50%. Now you're going to see like 45 to 50% drop each week moving forward. So what does that really mean? Like where can we see this movie ending? Well, if it continues on this pace, we're looking for like a domestic finish around 360 to 380 domestically, which isn't terrible. That's not terrible. That's actually very admirable. I could see it if it's got a little bit more legs. I could see it possibly hitting that 390, but I think we're looking at 360 to 380 is where it's really going to hit, somewhere between there domestically. And then internationally, look, it hasn't been doing great there. I think it's going to finish between 270, 280 internationally, with it dropping like it's been dropping. That would give it a final haul of somewhere between 630 and 660. No, it's not the 670 that people think it needs to hit for Man of Steel. It's not that 700 that I predicted. It's not the 700 that a lot of other people predicted, but it's damn near close to it. And in the current situation that comic book movie genre is in, that Hollywood, the industry, theater industry is in, look, that's nothing to balk at. Like, that is a damn good pull for a comic book movie in 2025 with what's going on. It's profitable. It's showing, look, first off, domestically, that is phenomenal. Secondly, the talk of the town was Superman. It's still Superman right now. People are still loving Superman, still talking about it. You still go on TikTok and you still see people talk about Superman. It's exciting. This is a big win for DC Studios. This is a big win for Warner Brothers. This is showing that, hey, they're moving in the right direction. No, this was never a movie that needed to make a quick billion. This wasn't a movie that needed to make a quick buck. This was a movie to establish a new universe, to establish a new feel for DC and get fans excited. And guess what? It's done just that. So now they need to hope that Peacemaker, Lanterns, and Supergirl continue that trend to move forward into the DC universe. Then they need to establish Wonder Woman and Batman and so on and so forth. So hopefully they're able to do that. Hopefully this is the start they needed, and it continues to push forward that way. I'm looking forward to it. I think this is a great start. Everything that's gone on with the box office this weekend, I said it before. I said, look, when everything was going down with Superman and people were kind of like, oh man, Superman may not hit that 700, 800. I said, look, it may not, but we need to watch Fantastic Four, because Fantastic Four is going to tell us, is it a Superman issue or is it a comic book movie genre issue? Because that has been the issue for the last couple of years, that it's something with the genre. And we're seeing, look, Superman is a good movie. People like Superman. People enjoy it. But the genre is stale. People are sick of the genre. But because it's a good movie, people are still going to it. So I think because people like it, and I think people are starting to realize, look, this isn't the same old comic book movie stuff. You're going to see, as long as they can continue pushing that way, specifically with DC, you're going to see more and more people going and get excited for DC. That's how I see it working out. But let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this weekend's box office, with how everything went with Fantastic Four, and where you think things are going to go with Superman. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are, so let me know in the comments below. All right, what are you guys saying over here? Because I see the chat blowing up. What are you saying? All right. Man. Oh, jeez. Jeffrey Miller is here. Says, hello. How's it going, Jeffrey? Man, you guys are talking about the inflation thing. Chandler goes, oh, dear God, not the inflation talk. I just talked about it real quickly. Just wanted to point it out. I didn't want to do anything else. Not going to talk about it here. Don't want to get into it. Let's see. We got Trayvon says, regardless of how you may feel about the new Fantastic Four movie, there's no denying that Disney bought Fox and stripped it to scraps for nothing. I don't know about that. Jalen says, yeah, the film felt too long and boring in some parts. And there was no fantasticness to the Fantastic Four movie. That's what's unfortunate. Jeffrey says, Thunderbolts was good, but the box office was bad too. I knew something is up, not looking great for Marvel. Yeah, we'll get into that later on the members only stream. But Thunderbolts, I loved. I loved Thunderbolts. Just don't know why the box office wasn't good. Well, I know why it wasn't good. But Fantastic Four, man, that was something else. Let me tell you. Jalen says The Bad Guys 2 was great. I wish it was doing better. I didn't mind the first one, but I watched it when it was on streaming. That was never a movie that I cared to really see in theaters. Lawrence Fury says Fantastic Four was a decent movie. It just needed faster pacing and more action. Yeah, it needed more fantastic moments. Trayvon says, don't worry, Slav. The Naked Gun is fine. It'll have legs like Superman. That's good. Critic Chris says Marvel needs to go with Paramount as before and depart from Disney. They've just been in a downward spiral since Phase 4. And I sound like a Snyder cultist. Oh, man. Trayvon says, I'm surprised Donovan isn't here to rip Sean O'Rourke a new one like he usually does. Is there something going on with Sean? I don't know. Amari, the MCU didn't lose their audience in one day. They won't get it back in one day either. Hopefully, after a couple of good movies, people will go see the MCU movies. Hopefully. Lawrence says, I think it's going to end up with $630 million. Talking about Superman. That's not a bad guess. I mean, it really isn't a bad guess. It sounds like it could be what it is. I'm hoping for a bit more, but it's not a bad guess. Purple Guy says, what sucks the most is that Feige ended up sabotaging both Superman and Fantastic Four. If they had just moved the release date, both films could have made a lot more. You could be right on that. I'm not going to say that you're wrong. I'm not going to say that you're right. Here's the thing. Both of them should have made money. Jurassic World, I don't think, hurt any of these films. I don't think Jurassic World hurt any of these movies. It's possible that Fantastic Four may have hurt Superman and Superman may have hurt Fantastic Four. That's possible. But I sit here and I'm a firm believer in the idea that if the movie is good, people are going to go see it, regardless of when it comes out. I am a firm believer in that. So Superman being as good as it is, people are going to go see it and see it as much and as many times as they want to see it, and we'll tell people to go see it, and people will go see it. I'm a firm believer in that. So I don't, like, maybe it hurt it a little bit, just a little bit, but I don't think it hurt it enough to say, oh, it took away $200-300 million. Maybe, $10 million, maybe $5 million. Like that's how I would look at it. Maybe, but I don't know. I can't sit there and say with 100% certainty that you're right or wrong, though. That's all. Critic Chris says Marvel better get their priorities straight before they start their reset after Secret Wars. Lawrence Fury, I've been seeing a lot of TikTok about Superman. So have I. Trayvon, by the time the dust settles, Superman will be the highest grossing comic book movie of the year. As a DC fan, I'm the happiest man alive. Yeah, it's great to see. It's about time, too. Amari, I think they should release their movies once, maybe twice a year, because they gave their artists and creators time and not have to rush to meet the deadline. Yeah. Jalen, bro, I'm literally watching another stream saying that Superman needs $850 million to break even, and I'm like, how? Where did this number come from? Are we not doing the 225, 2.5, the budget? Like, goddamn. Yeah, people just come up with these wild numbers. Like, I saw somebody today on my feed say 825 it needed to make, or 850 it needed to make to break even. Here's the thing. People don't understand how the budgets work. People don't understand how the marketing works. People don't understand how anything works in Hollywood. They think they understand. Specifically, even these Snyder bros, they really think they understand because they were listening to the Scoopers, 4 or 5 years ago about things, and these Scoopers had no idea what the hell they were talking about. So they think they know what everything means, and they don't. I'm not going to even sit here and say that I know everything. I've been wrong, and I'll admit when I'm wrong. They will never admit when they're wrong. But I can tell you, look, we've heard from multiple sources that the budget was between $200 and $225 million. We've been told that by a Variety or Hollywood reporter that the marketing budget was $100 million. However, you need to remember how marketing works with these films. First off, most of the marketing budget gets written off at the end of the year. Also, the marketing budget isn't like James Gunn walks up to an ATM and says, here's $100 million. All right, now we got to pay that back. Like, that's not how it works. The studio budgets at the beginning of the year, the marketing budget for the studio. So at the beginning of the year, they say, okay, we have a marketing budget of X amount of dollars. So we have $500 million for the budget for DC Studios this year. This is pulling out a number from my ass here. But they say we have $500 million for the budget for marketing. Throughout the year, they will say, okay, we're going to pull this much and allot this much for Superman, this much for Peacemaker, this much for this, so on and so forth, whatever they need throughout the year for their DC stuff throughout the year. That's how they do that throughout the year. It's already budgeted to their bottom line throughout the year for the for the studio as a whole. Okay, so it's not like it is budgeted towards the movie, it's budgeted towards the studio as a whole. And then that, like I said, most of that gets written off at the end of the year. So it's not like it goes towards, like it doesn't hit the budget of the movie. What hits the budget of the movie is just the budget. So that 225 is all that needs to be made up, plus whatever they pay the theater chains. And then it's profitable. That's how it works. So people need to remember that. But okay, anyways. Moving on. Lawrence Fury says we need to build trust and global excitement. Yes, 100%. Trayvon says 2012 is when Disney started distributing MCU movies. You're talking to Critic Chris, but Disney has owned Marvel altogether since 2009. Jalen says, I always look for all sides of the convo about Superman, both negative and positive, but God, are there a lot of dumb takes that drive me nuts. Very true. There are. Jeffrey Miller, I respect your opinion. Trayvon says, say that again, Slav. I don't know what I said, but I'll say it again at some point, I'm sure. Emo Nerd Girl says, Superman is played out. What? Trayvon says, Sean was out there comparing Superman's fourth weekend box office intake to that of the opening weekends of The Naked Gun, and Bad Guys 2 grasping the straws at its finest. Well, that's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. Come on now. Okay, let's move on to Spider-Man. Look at that. That's the suit, guys. Look, we got a little tease earlier in the week. We did. We got a little tease. They thought they were being all clever. They were trying to be ominous and clever with their tease, but they were just... I don't even know why they teased it, because the very next day they had Tom Holland show it, and then, boom, here's all the set photos. It made sense to have Tom Holland do that little thing where he walked on the stage and was like, hey, guys, and then walked away. That made sense. The tease before that was dumb, especially because they were going to have the set photos. Completely makes sense. I don't know if you guys see this there, but look at all those wrinkles. So many wrinkles. Unbelievable. Anyways, if you know, you know. But we have so many set photos of the Spider-Man suit, which you see the blue is a bit darker. You see the red is it a bit brighter? I don't know. But the thing that really stands out is the spider on his chest is much, much bigger. The eyes on the mask look very similar to that of his older suits, which I don't like. I kind of wish they were more in line with what we've seen in the past. And then we see some shots of him, some action shots, where we've seen some action shots of him as well, like this here, which has been cool. A little close-up shot, closer of him. Again, the eyes they look very much like what we've seen in the past couple movies, which again are all right. They're not great. Like I'm not a big fan of the eyes. I'm not. I don't know. Then it's Tom Holland here. You can see clearly it's Tom Holland. Another action shot, probably just a test or rehearsal. So a bunch of stuff. Now this one's interesting because it's a comparison to the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit and the new suit. Now I do like the eyes in this suit here, in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit. That's how I would like to see the eyes here. I guess these eyes on this suit are a little more comic accurate now that I'm looking at it from this angle. They definitely do look a little more comic accurate to me. But yeah, I mean, the web shooters are very interesting. If you look at the web shooters, they're really big and bulky looking too. Look how bulky they look on his wrist. It's pretty crazy looking. But yeah, this is a really good shot. And then we get some high definition shots here, which really make the blues stand out and the red stand out here, which is really nice. More wrinkles. Come on, guys. They should know better. The wrinkles are ridiculous. Come on. Like, have they learned nothing from James Gunn and Superman? You can't show wrinkles on a suit. Aaron Fisher's going to be all over this. I mean, come on. He's going to be all over this. That's it. It's over. It's over. But yeah, I think the suit is really nice. I do. I think it's nice. It's not... Is it my favorite suit? I don't know. I don't know yet. This suit I thought was a little too dark. I always liked the raised webbing. I do. I think the webbing's too far apart on this. I like how close the webbing is on this suit here, but I like the coloring on this the best. I do. I like the coloring the best on here. I don't like the web shooters. I'm still not sold on the eyes, though. I don't know. I do like the suit. There's just pieces of it I'm not a big fan of, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm looking forward to the movie. I'm a big Spider-Man fan, so I am looking forward to the movie. But let me know your thoughts about the suits and what we've seen so far. It's crazy to think that Tom Holland was just on the set of The Odyssey, and then he just jumped over here and started Spider-Man like that. Same with John Bernthal. I mean, John Bernthal was on the set of Odyssey, then he's doing Punisher, then he's going to be on Spider-Man. Like, he's jumping like crazy. Like, he's got to be super busy himself. So, yeah, man, nuts. Those guys are getting paid right now. Man, it's crazy. Sticking with Superman, before I start taking some comments, Superman stuff. According to Daniel RPK, apparently we're going to see multiple villains in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Some of the villains that we are supposed to see are Tombstone, Tarantula, Boomerang, Scorpion, and Ramrod. I'm guessing because we're also going to see Punisher, we're also going to see Hulk, Mr. Negative's supposed to be in it. Like, how many freaking characters are going to be in this movie? I'm guessing if we see these characters, it's going to be one-offs. It's going to be... did I say Superman, Jalen? I'm sorry. I meant Spider-Man if I said Superman. Sorry. Anyways, but if there are going to be this many characters in there, it's going to be probably like quick one-off scenes. Like, he's just taking care of like a bad guy over here real quick. Like, just kind of showing like, hey, I'm taking care of a bad guy, and then I move off over here. I'm your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Boom, taking care of a bad guy, moving over here. Taking care of a bad guy, moving over here. They kind of did that with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Very little bit. Like when he, at the end of like the second one, when he was taking care of Rhino, that kind of stuff. Even in the beginning when he was fighting Rhino before he was Rhino, like doing that kind of stuff. My guess is kind of how that's going to be, that's how it's going to be, maybe. I don't know. I'm looking forward to Spider-Man. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Spider-Man. I want to see this movie do well. I've enjoyed the last 3 movies to a point. You know, they're not the best, but I enjoyed them. I definitely enjoyed them. Maybe more than some other people enjoyed them, but I want to see a great Spider-Man movie again, and I'm hoping this is the one that's great. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right. So what are you guys saying in the comments? Let's see. Jalen goes, oh no, the wrinkles. The wrinkles. The wrinkles are going to get you. Let's see. Trayvon says, wow, look at you, Spidey. All right. Jalen says, Spider-Man looking good, except for those wrinkles. Critic Chris, I'm thinking that's Spider-Man's second costume. I think that's going to be his only costume in the movie. I do. I think that will be his only costume in the movie. I don't think we're going to see many costumes in this film. He's making his own costumes, so I don't think he's going to be sitting there sewing multiple costumes in this film. I don't. Jalen says, I'll never understand the hate for Tom's Spider-Man. Granted, it mostly online noise, but God, I love his movies. Yeah, I enjoy his films. I like Far From Home a lot more than I think other people do. I really enjoy that movie. Is it the best? No, but I have fun with it. No Way Home is what it is. I think it's more nostalgia bait because of the two others that pop up in it. And I like Homecoming also. I do. I like Homecoming. The only issue I have with it is how they just made him so reliant on the technology and not reliant on his own personal abilities. That's the only problem I ever had with it. And I think that's why I like Homecoming so much, is because they made him reliant on his own personal abilities so much. But then in the subsequent, the second and the third one, I can't talk. He was more on the technology side, but that's all right. Amari, all I asked was for the past 2 years was for Scorpion to be in this movie, and now that he is, I can rest happy. Look, that's just a rumor coming from Daniel RPK, so just go in cautiously. Hopefully he is. I'd love to see Scorpion myself too, but just be careful. Critic Chris says, I like the smaller spider on the chest, a bigger red spider on his back. I say that as a big fan of the 90s Spider-Man animated series. I like this look. I like the bigger spider. I was never a fan of the smaller spider. I thought it looked funky. Let's see. Trayvon says, I'm very curious to see the Hulk in this new Spider-Man movie. This means Hulk has now appeared in Marvel movies from Universal, Paramount, Disney, and now Sony. If only Fox was still around. Critic Chris says, he will, but you prove him wrong on costume, Slav. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure Aaron will say something. Amari says, restore the Raimi-verse. Oh, man. Actually, more people want to restore the webverse more than anything. Lawrence Fury, Marvel and DC both need to grow their brands back in Asia. The DC box office struggles most in Asia due to poor marketing, localization, weak ad presence, and limited translation impact. Asia just isn't buying Hollywood as it is. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's not just Marvel, it's not just DC, it's Hollywood as a whole. So, maybe it's just their opinions on America right now. I don't know. I don't know what it could be. I don't know. Critic Chris says, it's just web shooters. I'm not a big on. Maybe we'll get a scene when Spider-Man has to change cartridges mid-fall. Yeah, I'd like to see that. We haven't seen that with Holland, have we? No. Movie talk now. Sadly, Marvel will only see a small % of the final Brand New Day profit after theaters and Sony get their large cuts. Of course, yes. Trayvon says, I won't lie to you, I kind of wish that Andrew Garfield became the MCU Spider-Man. I can see him standing alongside RDJ's Tony Stark and Chris Evans' Steve Rogers. Yeah, I get that. Emo Nerd Girl says, I miss Tobey Maguire. Well, you may get to see him at least one more time. Maybe, if rumors are to be believed. Jalen says, funny how Spider-Man isn't getting the same level of backlash like Superman for the same thing. So many characters, costume wrinkles, and so on. Like, it's really funny. Yeah, well, James Gunn isn't directing it, so what do you expect? Trayvon, I can't help but wonder what would have happened to the Hulk in the MCU if Edward Norton stayed on. It wouldn't be as terrible as it is. That's what would have happened. Critic Chris says, the black web lines look great. Movie talk now. Only costumes. Slav trounces on symbiote rumor. Wait. Honest. Do I want to say? I mean, look, Secret Wars is about to come out in a couple movies, and if they follow the comics, which doesn't mean they will, symbiote, Secret Wars. I'm just saying. Critic Chris, I've heard his Far From Home costume gets torn up, and what we see there is the second costume his previous film switched from one costume to a new one. Interesting. Michael Mando confirmed he's in the movie as Scorpion. Oh, I didn't know that he confirmed. Interesting. Critic Chris, I read that too. Punisher is supposedly in that tank pursuing Scorpion to kill him with Spider-Man stopping him. Interesting. All right. Quick DC thing I want to talk about. So, Teen Titans has been a topic of discussion with Anna Naguaria moving off of Teen Titans temporarily, I guess, to go work on Wonder Woman. People have been asking about, hey, what's going on with Teen Titans and what's been going on with the Batman 2, what's been going on with this kind of stuff. So the big thing that he brings up, so the post is now not available, which is unfortunate. That sucks. Originally the post, it was asked about Teen Titans. And he says, anything you've heard about the movie is made up or a guess. No one in the world knows anything about the concept for the story except for 4 people. So people have been like trying to ask questions and ideas and concepts about Teen Titans. The thing about this that's nice is, first off, this is really confirmation that, hey, there's people that are in the know about this movie being made. So that's great. But then somebody asked, what about Hush in Batman Part 2? And he goes, again, everything you've heard is a total guess or made up. So nobody really knows anything about the Batman Part 2, which is cool to hear as well. And I love this aspect of James Gunn being on social media. I love. Just quell those rumors, squash those ridiculous ideas and thoughts that people are putting out there, because when you get rid of that crap, then there's no preconceived, notions or ridiculous claims or ideas that are dumb. Like we know, okay, the Hush and everything like that. Hush isn't in Batman Part 2 right now. As of right now, we don't believe he's in there because he says it's totally a guess or made up. It doesn't mean he's not in it, but as of right now, it's just totally made up or it's a total guess. So that kind of stuff is cool to hear. So this is the kind of aspect and kind of stuff I love to see when it comes to James Gunn. So that's all I wanted to talk about with this. Not much more in that regard. Whoops, what happened there? There we go. All right. What are you guys saying there? Funny Guy 9000 says, what's up? What's going on, man? Glad you could be here. Lawrence Fury says, we don't really need Teen Titans right now. I prefer them to work on Wonder Woman, which someone they trust to write the script. Yes. Anna Naguaria is that person. Movie Talk Now says Michael Mando was great in Good Girls, which he recommends for those with girlfriends and wives looking for a fun show to watch. Yes, it is a very excellent show. And Matthew Lillard's in that as well. Shaggy himself. So, yeah, go check it out. Definitely a good show. All right. Let's move on to the main topic, though. The main meat and potatoes of this episode. Let's get into it. Woo! Yay! Finally. I just want to press those things. It's fun. I got sound effects now. I want to use them. All right. So, 5 ways to make theaters great again. Look, movie theaters have been struggling quite a bit as of late. I don't know if you know this, but they have been. They've been struggling a little bit. Movie tickets are down like 40% over the last 15 years. I know like going to the movies just isn't the same as it used to be. Like you go to a movie theater, at least my movie theater, it just isn't clean. It's not the best experience. It's just not great. You know, like they're struggling. They don't get the staff they need because they're not making enough money to staff it up like they need to. Whole bunch of stuff. So these are 5 ways that I think that they can make theaters great again to help the box office grow. Now, these are just 5 ideas. 5 ways that I think studios could work with the theater chains. Because this would also benefit studios as much as it would benefit theaters. In my opinion, I think it would benefit both. But I also want to hear what your thoughts are. I want you guys to put your thoughts in the comments. I want you guys to share your ideas, because it doesn't matter how crazy or wild it is. I want to hear what you have to say about it as well. So the first thing I will say is what I call the staggered premium release. Okay? Now, what I mean by that is I think we should treat specifically the blockbusters, your big blockbusters like Dune and Star Wars and your Marvels and your DCs. You need to utilize them as these big events. And they do typically. But I think they should kind of make them exclusive to your IMAX and your big exclusive like Dolby Digital theaters for like a week or two. And I know some of you might say, I don't have an IMAX or Dolby Digital near me for X amount of miles. And I think that's something that can be worked out. I think that's something that's okay, you know. It's not like these studios can't figure out, okay, here's a major city, we can exclusively in an IMAX in this city, but over here there's none, so we put it in a regular digital theater here. But the reason why I say that, and a big reason why I say that, is because, one, it would create a lot of buzz. Like, okay, there's limited seating. Number one, limited seating. So everybody's going to try and get those tickets for those theaters. So those theaters are going to sell out. Number two, those ticket prices are typically higher. So it's going to bump up that box office big time, because those tickets are going to sell out. And if it's exclusively for that, that's going to help. Again, it's going to create a buzz. It's going to create that fear of missing out. And I think that could be an interesting idea. So, again, just an idea, just a thought. You release it first for a week or two in those premium theaters, whether it's a Dolby Cinema, a 4DX, a IMAX, any of those premium theaters for like a week or two. And then after that, you put it in your digital theaters as well. I know that some of the potential flaws with that, like I said, are not all areas have an IMAX. My closest IMAX is an hour and a half away, and unfortunately, over the last 4 months, it's been closed down for renovations. I didn't get to see Superman in IMAX because it was closed down for renovations. So I'm screwed. Like, I wouldn't be able to see it early because it was closed for renovations. Now, there are Dolby cinemas, so I could have gone to a Dolby cinema. So that is available to me. But again, you see my point. Like, you could get stuck in a situation like that. And that would just be something that, like, that Lowe's theater, if they're closed for renovation, they would have to work with the studio and say, look, our IMAX is closed. Can we release it in our digital format because of that? And they would have to work out an agreement to that. I just think that would be a smart idea and a different idea to just build the hype, build the excitement, the buzz, and you get higher ticket sales first and foremost. Just a thought. And the reason why I say that is because when I was looking at Superman tickets, I would look at the IMAX theaters, and they weren't all sold out. The IMAX theaters were not sold out that opening weekend. That would guarantee that they would get sold out that opening weekend. Again, higher ticket sales, a lot more money, just in my opinion. So that's number one. Number two might be a little bit of an odd one, A 90-day commitment. Number 2 and number 3 kind of go hand in hand with each other. A 90-day commitment. Every movie would get a minimum of a 60 to 90-day exclusive run in theaters. And what that means is no streaming. So it would not be on streaming at all. If the movie bombs or dips below, say, 60% attendance after 4 to 5 weeks, then fine, you can accelerate the clock to 45 days to come out, out of theaters a little sooner. But if it overperforms and makes more than the average for, say, its genre, it gets a re-release then 1 month before its home and digital release. Think of it as a victory lap to boost box office and get folks excited again. Studios get more money, theaters get a second wind, and everybody wins. So if you don't understand what I'm saying with that, is okay, so the movie, let's say the movie does really well, it's in for 3 months, 90 days. So it's in for 3 months for 90 days. And why say this comes out, or why 3 is alongside of it, digital should be delayed up to 6 months. So no movie should come out digitally on iTunes, Amazon, Vudu, all that stuff until 6 months after its theatrical release. But only if the movie performs well. If it underperforms, sure, drop it early to make up losses. So if a movie is a hit, let it breathe a little bit. Give it its moment on the big screen. So let it hit that 60 to 90 days exclusivity in the theater. But then give it a second run at month 5 in the theater. So at month 5, throw it in theaters again. Whether it's just IMAX, if you can get it in IMAX, or just digitally, doesn't matter. Just get it in theater for like 3 to 4 weeks. Build up that hype and say, for 1 month only, see Superman again in theaters before it hits digital on such and such a day. Get people excited. See if it works. It might not. But you're building that anticipation, that hype. I think it would be something cool to try out with some movies. I remember when I was a kid, I can't tell you how excited I was because, look, movies were in theaters for a lot longer. They were. They stuck in the theaters for a lot longer. That anticipation for a movie to come out on home video, and then once it finally did, you had to buy it. You just had to. But today, there's no need to buy the movie. There's no need to get it digitally. There's no need. Now, there is another reason for that, which we're going to get to in a second here, but there's no need for it. But if you have that build for anticipation, like you had it in theaters for 3 months, and then it goes away, and then you're just kind of like, man, when is that coming out? Man, I saw it in theaters. I had no way to see it right now. I would love to watch that movie right now. I can't watch it. Man, I just want to watch it. But you can't see it. Because it's nowhere to be found. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, guess what? It's in theaters again the month before it comes out. Like, holy crap, it's in theaters again? I'm going to go watch it. I have to. And then you go and watch it again. And then a month later, boom, it's out on video. Like, yes, I can buy it now. And then you buy it. Like, I think that would be a really cool idea. Something to try out. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But I think it's worth trying. I do. Next up, 1 year to stream minimum. What this means is that this is a bold move, but no movie would hit streaming services until exactly 1 year after its theatrical debut. So that would mean, we'll take Superman again, for instance. It came out on July 11th. It would not hit HBO Max until the earliest July 11th of 2026. That means you would have, if you followed these rules here that I'm saying, 90 days in theaters, 6 months until it went on digital to buy, and then another 6 months until you could see it for free, quote unquote free, on HBO Max. So that gives the studio almost an entire year to actually make money off this movie. Like, that just makes sense. Like, why not? Why are they not allowing themselves to earn money? I get it. They want to earn money off their streaming services. I completely get that. And they want to have content on their streaming services to make money. But that's what the TV shows should be for, not their films. Their films should not be what's driving traffic to their streaming services. They should be making as much money off their films from theaters and, the purchases digitally or physical copies of it. And I think that's the way they need to handle it. And then finally, event nights. Make theaters feel special. I'm going to use Superman again for this. When Superman was coming out, theaters should have worked with, whether it's studios or even local podcasters or, comic book stores or things like that, and hold nights at their theaters for events for Superman, for these big movies, for Fantastic Four, to invite these things to host these exciting events at the theater, to make it a true event, to make it something exciting to come in. So when people come in, they're like, okay, this isn't just a normal theatrical experience. They're having a party here. This is fun. And what I mean by contacting the studio can help, hey, here's some stuff to give away. Here's some stuff to help promote this movie when people are coming in. Here's some stuff for whoever's doing it, whether it's the comic book store, whether it's just here's some comics to give away. Here's some stuff for the podcasters, whatever it is, just to help push and promote and get the excitement up at the theater. Because the theater's success is the movie and box office success. And that's the kind of stuff they should do. You could do it same with like any horror fests, for horror films during Halloween, during Christmas. You could do all that kind of stuff throughout the year. And it doesn't need to be every weekend, but, once a month, or specifically with the big releases, you should absolutely look at doing something like that because it's fun. It brings people in. So those are my 5 things that I think would be a lot of fun. Again, I don't think theaters are dead yet. I think they're a little neglected, but I think this is the perfect time to start to think outside the box from a studio perspective, from a theater perspective, to really try different things to reinvigorate the theatrical experience, reinvigorate on how to bring money into the box office. But I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments. All right. What are you guys saying over here? Let's get a full screen here. All right. Where are we at? Funny Guy 9000 says, yeah, nowadays I pick and choose movies to watch on cinema. Hungry Almighty, how to make theaters great again, quality, and stop allowing it to be in streaming so fast. I basically said that. Movie Talk Now. I remember the good old days where people used to sell drugs at the movie theater arcades. Well, geez. They used to have arcades at theaters, man. I remember that too. I remember going to the theater, buying my ticket because it would start like an hour or two later, and then going and playing at the arcade until the movie would start. Critic Chris says, these days people prefer staying at home. It's just the cost. It adds up. If you got a family, it's $20 for me alone. Which is why you do like what number 5 for me was, which is make it feel special. If you make it feel special, if you create like an event there specifically for these bigger movies, your kids are going to want to go do it. And the parents are going to be like, all right, I'll take you. Or, the kids are the teenagers are going to want to go, or even the nerds are going to want to go because it's going to be something special. You don't make it cost more. I know me running a podcast, if a theater came and asked me, like, would you host this night for us? I'd be like, absolutely. How much we got to pay you? Absolutely nothing. I will be more than happy to do it for free because it's going to be tons of fun. And I would do it. You can ask a comic book shop. You can guarantee a comic book shop would do it for free. Like, those are the kind of things that they would want to do because, one, it's free promotion for them. 2, it's going to be loads of fun. People are going to come in there and they're going to have tons of fun themselves. That's the kind of stuff you need to do. That's just my opinion. Trayvon says this may be a geographical issue because the two theaters I went to see Superman in were very clean and nobody was an interruption. Yeah, I know that's not just, I know that's not typical everywhere. I've seen other theaters that are very clean. I've seen some theaters are dirty. I've been at both. AMC's for me, most of the AMC's I go into are pretty crappy. The AMC, like I said, the AMC's I've gone into. The couple Cinemarks I've been to have been really nice. So it's just, I don't know what it is with AMC's around me. They just suck. Jalen says more IMAX screens make more movie theaters that are more modern, make theater designs more unique and awe-inspiring and less expensive for tickets and food. I don't think they can make tickets less expensive. Food is an interesting thing. It's hard, though, to make food less expensive because that covers the overhead for the entire theater. That's where theaters make the money to pay their employees, pay their lights, pay their everything. Like, if they need new carpeting, if they need new equipment, if they need whatever, like the concessions are what pay for almost all of that. I know the concession prices suck, but that's what pays for everything. The ticket prices are essentially, that's all but the studios that decide that essentially. And again, I think like where I live, they're not too badly priced around where I live. If they went up a few more dollars, I'd be a little upset, but it is what it is. Studios got to make their money, and so, and a portion of that does go to the theater chains, as it should, but, it's rough. It is rough all around. It is. Critic Chris says social media has ruined the movie-going experience. You got people intentionally hating on movies before they release, giving spoilers before the movie's first weekend is up, etc. Yeah, there's not going to be any stopping that, though, unfortunately, unless we get rid of social media, which will never happen. Trayvon says, my wild idea, have these major movie studios buy out these big theater chains, a la Sony buying the Alamo Drafthouse. Yeah, you could do that, but it's unlikely to happen because, like, Sony buying the Alamo Drafthouse, how many theaters? Is that just one theater, or is it multiple? I don't know much about the Alamo Drafthouse. I know that there's one in LA. Is that the only one? Because that's just one. Like, you can't have a studio buy AMC because they have like 4,000 locations. That's a lot of locations, so that would be a lot of money and upkeep and everything like that. So it's good. It's a good idea, unless all the studios came together and kind of were like, let's just come up with a theater chain that we run and all work together. Kind of like how the studios did Hulu for a while. Like a bunch of studios were all in on Hulu for a while and kept Hulu up and running. They could do something like that maybe. Funny Guy 9000 says, yes, I do agree that big events like Justice League, Avengers, Dune, Star Wars, etc. should have a lot of marketing. Yes. Movie Talk Now. Damn, and I've complained about driving 20 minutes to go to IMAX. Yeah, my IMAX, like I said, is about an hour and a half away. The Dolby Digital is about the same, about hour and 26, hour and 30 from me. Yeah. Where'd it go? Trayvon says, think of Warner Brothers owning AMC, Disney owning Regal, or, as is actually the case, Sony owning Alamo. Critic Chris, I don't care for IMAX really. Nearest one to me is almost a 2-hour drive. Movie Talk Now. Slav, I'm so with you with the extended exclusive theatrical run for 60 days to 3 months. Plus, your 6-month wait for successful movies is fascinating. I like it. Yeah, I think it's cool. I think again, this was all like, let's come up with like a weird idea, something different. That's all it really was. Is it ever going to happen? No. But somebody get this to studios. Let them see this. Let them see like some crazy ideas to try something different out. That's all I say. Let's see. The Funny Guy says extended theater times are great. What, to be open later? Is that what you're talking about? Or for the movies to be out longer? Yes, I want them to be out longer too. Movie talk now. Jurassic World just opened in Japan this week, and guess what? It's getting a digital release at the month's end. Yeah, I mean, that's what they're doing. It's crazy. Funny Guy 9000. In fact, Coyote vs. Acme extended theater times for Looney Tunes to be successful. Critic Chris, I remember hating 5 to 6 months. Hating 5 to 6 months for movies to release on VHS. I hated it. I worked at a video store, so I always had people coming in asking me all the time. That's why I hated it. But hey, it is what it is. Trayvon says, where can you buy new movies on DVD these days, eh? Walmart? Walmart's pretty much gone. Amazon? Pretty much, I guess. I don't know. Funny Guy 9000. Christmas blockbusters and summer blockbusters are the best times, too. Movie talk now. Good presentation, Slav. Surprised you didn't include extra bonus. Local strip club theater collaborations for Freaky Fridays. Hey, that's a good one, man. Maybe we should add that into it. Patrick Ollinger. Hello. How's it going, Patrick? Funny Guy 9000. Nowadays, people keep on waiting for streaming, so studios need to convince people to watch theaters again. Yeah. It's that's why I said if you wait for streaming for a whole year, people are more likely to just see it in theaters then. Because then they know, oh, it's not going to come to streaming for a year, then I got to see it. Again, fear of missing out. Trayvon says, Alamo Draft House has 44 locations. I would know one of those is in Raleigh, North Carolina. I didn't know that. There you have it. See? Lawrence Fury. Movie theaters should host fandom weekends or weeks, trivia nights for Marvel, DC, horror, anime, etc. Yeah, that would be cool. Hunter Iggy says, Slash Free Talk, is time for DCU to rise. Yes, absolutely. Randula, is the Authority officially canceled? There's been no word that it's officially canceled. Just James Gunn says that it's been the hardest one to crack. All right, guys. Well, this has been a fun show. This has been great. If you guys have any comments on 5 ways to make theaters great, if you have any ideas on how to make theaters great, let me know in the comments below. I'm going to have to get going because I need to get ready for my members-only stream. So if you're a member, you can jump over there. It's only about a 15-minute long stream. So that's what I do over there. This one is going to be all about Marvel and if they should be panicking right now with what's going on with their films. Marvel Studios, that is. If you're not a member, just $2.99. You can become a member, get exclusive streams and exclusive stuff like that. With all that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. This was a lot of fun. I look forward to doing it again very soon. Critic Chris did say one more thing here. What did he say? Where did it go? I lost it. Where'd it go? He says, I had kids ask what I was watching video store because I bring movies from home. As long as they're appropriate, I was watching 80s Transformer cartoons, which got their interest. Nice. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And with all that said, I will catch you all, let me find the right one, later.